Hey everyone, I wanted to welcome you to this live. My name is Morgan Boglin, and I'm the Marketing and Communications Director for Boys and Girls Clubs of the Gulf Coast. We're really excited to have you guys here. We're doing these series of virtual conferences for youth to keep them inspired, to keep them motivated during this time. Just to let you guys know that you're not alone. Adults are struggling with this, professional athletes, college athletes, Olympians, movie stars. We're all going to get through this together, and you're not alone. So we're bringing these to you guys so you can really understand how adults are getting through this, how other young people are getting through this, and so that you can ask any questions you may have and reach out to us for support. So today we're super excited. We have Myles Brennan. He is the quarterback for LSU, and I'm going to pass it off to our moderator for today, Ian August.
Thank you, Morgan. I just want to, again, reiterate what Morgan said and welcome everyone to the Elements of the Scholar Athlete. We're going to be bringing you live streams in the near future of professional athletes, trainers, collegiate athletes, like Morgan said, that are going through some of the similar challenges and working through those things. So today we have a very special guest, Myles Brennan. And Myles, we want to welcome you from the Boys and Girls Club Gulf Coast. And if you could, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all having me. It is an honor just to be able to reach out, to those in need right now and to, let them know that we're going to get through this. We just got to stay strong and take it a day at a time. But I was born in New Orleans. I grew up on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. We moved to Bay St. Louis until Katrina hit. So right in 2005, Hurricane Katrina hit and completely wiped us out. We lived right on the beach in Bay St. Louis. So we ended up moving to Destin, Florida, lived on a 70-foot Hatteras, like a yacht, for 3 years in Destin. And then we ended up moving back to Mississippi Gulf Coast maybe eight or so years ago. And we've been here since. So a lot of perseverance, has come in my life growing up. But that's why I'm excited to be able to be on here and talk about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. So you told me a little bit about growing up and where you come from. Who would you say your role model was growing up?
My role model, it was probably my oldest brother. I have two older brothers. Both my older brothers were my role models, but my oldest brother played quarterback at Stanislaus. And so I didn't start playing quarterback until 7th or 8th grade. So I would finish our junior high practices and I would go and wait for them to finish their varsity practices. And I would just sit there on the sidelines and watch. And that's cool. Like, I want to be like him. I just want to be like my brother when I grow up. And so that's kind of when I just started picking up the football and throwing it around a little bit. And he overcame a lot of injuries in his career. He was more of a dual threat type of quarterback, so he loved to lower his shoulder and take on the hit. But that definitely, growing up, he was probably my biggest role model.
That's awesome. Family full of football players.
Full of football players. My oldest brother played. My middle brother played. My dad played at Tulane, and my mom was the first female athlete to receive scholarships for volleyball and basketball.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's great. So did you play any other sports?
So I played football, baseball, and then I played golf on my senior year of high school. So I stopped playing baseball, I think, sophomore year when football kind of started picking up for me, and I knew that's kind of what I wanted to do. And then I played golf my senior year. I love golf. That's just kind of what I do in my free time. And I always wanted to play, but my high school coach would never let me play because that got interfered with off-season training. So after our senior year, I played for about 2 months on the team.
Okay, well, cool. What's your handicap?
I can't tell you all that.
Just enjoy playing. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you talked about your personal role model. Who would you say your favorite sports star is?
Probably Drew Brees, just being a Saints fan and watching him and what he's overcome and, whether it's his injuries and him coming in right after, the storm hit and just kind of rebuilding, kind of being the foundation of rebuilding that city. I just feel, and then, bringing the Saints to a Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl, and what he does on the field is very amazing, but I admire what he does off the field more, whether it's his foundation or constantly donating, constantly trying to help people out. So that's just who I try and, follow a guy's footsteps like that, who plays the position at the next level, and does very well on the field, but also, I wanted to find somebody that continue that off the field as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, that kind of flows into what you're doing today, and again, we appreciate it. So with that being said, can you talk to the young people out there that are watching about how important grades are in getting you to this level where you are?
Yeah, without a high school degree, I mean, it starts right when you start school, to be able to get to high school, and then from high school to college, and then from college to be able to get a job and work. But I know, to be able to receive a scholarship, we had to have a certain ACT score. You had to have a certain GPA. You couldn't fail any classes. You couldn't have so many absent. Like, there was just such a criteria on, to be able to, they called it just scholarship eligible. Just to be able to receive a scholarship, you had to check off this whole checklist. And going through high school and still to this day, so many people tell me, like, get your education, get your education, get your education, because as we all know, football's not going to last forever, and if God willing, I'm fortunate enough to be able to go to the next level and play. But if something happens tomorrow, 10 years, 5 years, I'm going to have to go get a job, and I'm going to need that education, and I'm going to need my degree to be able to help support my family, and, make a lifestyle for myself. So getting your education and making the grades is very important. And you might not realize it right now, because I remember when I was sitting in those desks in high school and just thinking, like, this is never going to end. When am I graduating? Get me out of here. But it's going to go by quick, and you're not going to realize what just happened. You're going to have your high school diploma, and then you're going to be 3 years into college, going into your senior year like I am, and you're not going to know what the heck's going on, how fast time flew by. So I'll just focus on your grades, because you never know when you're going to need them, and you will need them. So that's probably my biggest thing on that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
What would you say on the field has been your biggest achievement?
Just growing as a quarterback, and coming out of high school. Our high school team was very successful. We made it to state twice. We had very good athletes on our team, and then going to the next level, you're playing against the best. Whether you're practicing against the best or you're the opponent, everybody is really good. And just the speed of the game, how fast it changed. Whether it was in high school, I could make a throw. Let's say I was late on the throw. In college, that's an interception. Like, everything has to be precise. And I feel like that's my biggest thing is confidence, just being out there and being able to take a deep breath and be like, look, I've done this my whole life. Like, there's nothing different than when I was in Pee Wee playing football. Like, I'm throwing the ball to the receivers, I'm going through my reads, or scoring touchdowns, or having fun. Like, it's football, And so sometimes a lot of players, they get overwhelmed, when you have 100,000 people around you, or you're playing in a stadium that you can't even see the other side of it because it's so big. It's just, you got to realize that it's a game. The field's the same size, and you're just playing football. You're just having fun.
So take me through, what does your preparation look like for getting ready for that moment? Like, what does your typical work week look like?
So starting on Monday, in season. So Monday we'll go in. Obviously, we have workouts Monday morning, class all day. Our team meeting is at 1:30. So we'll go to football. We'll have a team meeting at 1:30. We will, after the team meeting, we will split up into position by positions. Each position gets their own room, meeting room. And then we will watch the whole game from the Saturday before. So we'll go through the whole entire game, which usually takes a good, like, an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then once we finish watching film, we go out just in shorts and shirts, and we'll do kind of like a walkthrough practice on Monday. We have a corrections period. We correct all the plays that we messed up on in the game. We do a little bit of an install for our next week's game, and then we have some conditioning at the end. And so then Tuesday and Wednesday, same format, class, meetings, And then practice is more up tempo. We go into full pads. We're hitting. It's live Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, the pads come back off. We're just in helmets. It's kind of slowing back down. Friday is just shorts and shirts. And then we travel on Fridays for away games. And then Saturday, wake up. We have meetings all morning. We have walkthroughs before the game, pregame meal. And then we get on the bus and head over to the stadium.
It's pretty amazing that you're able to just, down to a T what you do every moment of the day. That's pretty cool.
A lot more specific, but we'd be here for a while.
Sure. So I guess that leads into my next question. As far as during the quarantine right now, how are you being a self-starter and making sure you stay regimented? Because when the season starts, you got to obviously be regimented.
Right. I mean, the biggest thing that I've told myself is I compete with myself every day. I'm not on the field. We're not competing. I don't have anybody to compete with, but this is a time for me to be able to compete with myself and make myself better and push myself. And so I have a workout schedule where I lift weights every day. I have all my quarterback drills on my iPad, and I have all my ladders set up, my cones, nets. I have trash cans that I throw into. I have everything set up. Every morning, the quarterbacks, every position meets every morning. So every morning at 8:00, we've been reinstalling the offense. We're watching film, and then I go out and I do my drills. I'll go throw routes. And I'm just trying to do as much as I can, like you said. So once we get back, we're hitting the ground running, and there's no taking a step back, because a lot of people might not be taking advantage of this time right now. And this could be their summer break, for athletes, because we would never get this break ever. But I'm not considering it a break. I'm considering it, this is a time to get better that not many people are going to take advantage of.
Sure. Now I know you're going to want to be modest, but I want you to answer this question. Next question is, what would you say your best attributes as an athlete and as a person are?
First off, I feel like I'm a very humble person. I feel like my head is on straight, and that's an testament to my parents, the way that they've raised me. Um, but just I don't let the outside noise affect me at all. And I try my hardest to stay off of social media, whether, Twitter is really the worst, just because anybody can say whatever they want. But, at the end of the day, my family is what matters, and nobody else matters, my family and our football team. And that's it, because at the end of the day, I'm going to rely on my family for help, and I'm going to rely on the football team for help. The chatter doesn't matter. So then, it's great when you're doing great. All the reporters come out and, oh, y'all are the best ever, and best quarterback, best receivers. But when you're losing, you don't hear a single thing. Oh, this is the worst team in school history. So it's just the best thing to do is just stay off of it. And going through high school and starting to college, a lot of accolades and achievements and awards and things like that. But at the end of the day, I'm still human, and I'm more than a football player, and I've been trying to really work not only on football and my skills in football to where I can be the best every single day, but I also want to be able to help people off the field, like with what I'm doing today. And my girlfriend and I just started a GoFundMe 2 weeks ago, to help raise money for the coronavirus. So I'm just really trying to, use my platform to help others.
Awesome. Well, we thank you for that. So I wanted you mentioned everything you went through with Hurricane Katrina and the devastation, how it affected you personally. How do you feel like you've harnessed that and it's motivated you? And is there anything that you could share from that time that you feel like is pertinent and would help people now?
Yeah, the biggest thing is we can get through anything as humans, and the biggest thing for me is I am a very determined person, with whatever it may be that I'm doing, whether it's football or anything in life. I'm very determined, um, and I know that I won't be stopped. The only person that can stop me is myself. And so I know going through Katrina, I was young, and I don't remember much of it, but I do remember, coming back and not seeing my house there, and not seeing my four wheelers, and not seeing the boats, and just being a lot full of sand, and asking, where did everything go? Like, why is our house not here? And so like I said, I was young, so it took me a minute to realize what was going on. But my parents really wanted to flip what had just happened to us and get back on our feet and restart. Like we just needed happiness in our life, and that's when they decided to buy the boat. We love being on the water, hunting, fishing, um, and it was an awesome 3 years that we lived in Destin. Whether it was just my mom taking us to school. My dad still worked in New Orleans at the time, so he would leave during the week, but my mom would take care of us, my two brothers and I. She would cook meals. She would take all of us to school. I mean, she ran the whole entire boat, made sure we weren't sinking at night, which was hopefully never a problem. But it's just perseverance. I've encountered a lot of, you know, situations where I've had to persevere through. And I feel like without growing up and having the life that I've had to live up to this point, I don't feel like I'd still be at LSU to this day, just because it prepared me so much for what I got into when I got to LSU. Coming in and fighting for the starting job behind Danny Etling as a freshman, and then coming in and be like, hope that thinking that sophomore year is my year, and then they bring in Joe, and then the next year Joe, and then finally, God willing, it's my time. But that's 3 years right there where other quarterbacks were popping out left and right, just transferring. I'm not dealing with this, But like I said, I'm determined, and I'm not gonna let myself down, much less my family and those that have supported me throughout this whole way. So I know I can't be stopped, and us as humans can't be stopped, but we just have to realize that we can do it. Like just like what we're going through right now with this whole coronavirus. Like you have to take it a day at a time and tell yourself, and you have to be positive, be very positive that this too shall pass. Like this is not the end of the world. We're gonna get through this, and that's why I just it's just I kind of like get mad at myself sometimes when I start thinking bad thoughts. I flip the switch and I tell like stop. Like no, you like be positive. If you think positive, positive things will happen. So that's just kind of how I've gotten to where I am today, and I hope to continue on going through my college career like that, and and keep going into life with that mindset.
Awesome, awesome. So with the COVID and everything that's going on, there's a lot of people that have been personally impacted. What would you tell them how to get through, and just that personal perseverance, and how to harness that?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that goes back to taking it a day at a time. This we have no idea what's going to happen. It could be tomorrow or it could be 3 months, 10. No one knows. But a lot of people are struggling right now, and that's why I've set up that GoFundMe to try and help people out. But a lot of people are struggling. Um, I know I pray a lot, and I feel like the Lord doesn't give. I feel like the Lord gives his or his hardest battles to his toughest soldiers, and I live by that. And so this is just another bump in the road, and I feel like lower your shoulder and push through it. Feeling sorry for yourself, isn't going to do much at this time. I feel like we need to all come together and stick together and stay together and be the best we can every day, and take advantage of this time. It's been beautiful weather. This is the first time I've never seen more people outside, in my 21 years of living than I have once this whole coronavirus thing came up. So it's been nice to see, but, just take it a day at a time, be safe. Obviously that comes first. But just be positive.
Sure, sure. All right. Well, I'm going to ask you a question during this time. I know I see a lot of people are learning to cook, or they're doing different things. So, as far as eating right, what would you say your favorite healthy meal is?
Favorite healthy meal, probably steak, mashed potatoes, um, corn. I like some broccoli. That's my healthy meal.
Okay. What about a cheat meal?
My cheat meal is probably some Popeyes fried chicken. I love some good Popeyes fried.
Okay. Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
So, when this quarantine lifts and everything's back in session, uh, what is the first thing you're going to do?
Get back to Baton Rouge and go right back to football. Um, Sit down with the coaches and come up with a game plan of where we stand right now. What is our game plan as a team, as an offense? what needs to be done to help make sure everybody's on the same page, um, and then get the thing rolling again. I mean, it's just I want to make sure that as a team and as myself that we're so prepared and we're taking advantage of this time to once we get back, we're not taking 5 steps back. We're 5 steps ahead of everybody else, and we're hitting the ground running, and we won't even miss a beat.
Awesome. Well, I have one more question for you, and then we'll get into some rapid fire stuff.
Yeah.
I've heard you were personally impacted by the COVID-19. Would you mind sharing that with us and the people at home?
Right. Yeah. So, my girlfriend's grandfather passed away maybe 2 weeks ago, from COVID-19, and obviously it hit home for her family. But her grandfather and I built a relationship throughout the past 3 or so years that I've been dating my girlfriend. A huge LSU fan. He lived in New Orleans. When my girlfriend and I would go down and eat with the grandfather and the grandmother, he would always call me Les. That was my nickname for him because of Les Myles. So he would always call me Les. My girlfriend says that he was my biggest fan. So we had a strong connection, just getting to know him. And unfortunately, this virus got to him and took his life from him. So my girlfriend and I came together and just as hard as it was for her and myself, we thought that we need to help those that are struggling. It hit them very hard. Losing anybody, just losing anybody, much less a family member or a grandparent, is very difficult. And my girlfriend and I thought that, what can we possibly do to give back to this community, to give back to those in need that are fighting with this virus? So we came up with the GoFundMe page, and it was crazy. Our first goal was $7,000, and with the page hadn't even been set up for 24 hours yet, and we had already passed our 7,000 goal mark.
Wow.
Um, and so we quickly changed our goal to $10,000, and a day and a half later, we passed that up. So my girlfriend and I were just kind of in awe, and I mean, in shock. Like, this is going so much faster. Like, it just took off, and we had no idea what was going on. We were just very excited and very grateful. So we ended up bumping it. It's at 15,000 right now, and I think we met that goal maybe on Monday.
Wow.
And we just left it open because we're still getting donations, and so probably 3/4 of the money is going to go to Ochsner in New Orleans, where they took care of my girlfriend's grandfather. He passed away in Ochsner. All of his visits were in Ochsner. They took care of, along with so many other people that they're taking care of right now. They took very good care of her grandfather and her grandmother and all of their family. So we felt like, to get back to them, whether it was for ventilators or, personal protection equipment or anything that they need to help them be as safe as possible and help those that are struggling from this virus help get through it. And so then my girlfriend and I discussed that, we can, since we've raised a lot more money than we expected, we can really help more than just Ochsner. And so we came up with helping out 2 food banks in New Orleans that are struggling. They're having to tell people no, like they don't have any food, they don't have any money to buy food. Like, I'm sorry, we don't have meals for y'all. Like, so it was Giving Hope and Second Harvest, both in New Orleans. And so we're gonna, just figure out how to split the money and get it to them. But we're gonna shut it down, I think, on Saturday and start getting them the money, just before, just so they can get it and start using it for a valuable reason. So that's kind of really what's been going on with this coronavirus. Um, but I feel like my girlfriend and I have really done something good, and it's crazy that, everybody's struggling, and she lost her grandfather, and we feel like, this is probably the least that we could do to help all those people that are in need, but it's better than nothing.
That's awesome. That is an awesome thing that you're doing, that you and your girlfriend are doing. So thank you for that. So we're going to get into some rapid fire questions. So this is called This or That. So you just pick one of the two. So we're going to start small. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Okay. Why?
I love to fish and I love to hunt. So hunting's in the winter, fishing is in the summer. So that was a 50-50 one right there.
I got you. That's fair. Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix. I don't watch much TV, but I do have the Netflix app, and I have watched a few shows on there, so I'd go with Netflix.
Cardio or weights?
Weights. Yeah.
Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram.
Okay, now we're not talking about during the social distancing time that we're in now, but typically, big party or small gathering?
It depends on the mood, but I'm usually a small gathering kind of guy. Yeah. Just like keeping it low key.
Nothing wrong with that. Sweet tea or Coke?
Coke. It's very weird. I go through like kicks. I go through like different kicks of Dr. Pepper, Coke, sweet tea. Obviously, I love water, but it was weird. I mean, I grew up drinking sweet tea, and then all of a sudden, I never ordered it anymore, and I couldn't tell you the last time I had a sweet tea. And then I started ordering Coke, and I was like, no, this is terrible for me. So then I went back to water, and then I went back to it. Just like circulates, but it's kind of funny.
So your taste buds are well rounded. Let's say that.
Let's say that. Yeah, good call.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Probably both. Definitely an early bird. Just with workouts and class and tutoring and all of that. Plus, yeah, I'm an early bird, but I also take advantage of the night just to be able to do things. I usually clean my boats during the night because it's not hot. I can get things done without having to sweat.
Awesome. iPhone or Android?
iPhone. Yeah.
Mountains or beach?
I would say beach. Just from growing up on the coast, I love being on the water, being on the beach, but I do love the mountains. So that'd be a nice change of pace as well.
City or country?
Country. Yeah.
Sweets or salty?
Sweets. I like sour sweets though. Big sour guy. Yeah.
It's cool. Well, that wraps up our time, Myles. Thank you again, and it's a beautiful thing that you and your girlfriend are doing for Oshner's and the food banks there in New Orleans, and helping during this COVID, turning a tragedy into an opportunity to help others. I think that's really, really awesome. And thank you on behalf of the Boys and Girls Club Gulf Coast by spending this time with the young people today.
Of course. Well, I appreciate y'all having me. And like I said earlier, to all of those out there listening, we're gonna get through this together. Just stay strong, stay positive, and just like I said earlier, lower your shoulder and push through.